Okie dokie. Yeah, well, maybe I'll just continue to riff on this theme of what you want and how you relate to it. So right now we're all a bit tired. And makes sense that what you want when you're tired is to lie down. And just notice that it feels good to do so. Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing, right? So being tired and wanting to lie down, that's a genuine kind of desire there. And so in giving yourself what you want, there's a release that happens. And now here we are in a circus school, and sometimes you're doing things you don't really want to do because you're tired or whatever reason you have. And that happens in real life too, right? So there's a couple different ways of thinking about that. One is that you have a choice. You always have a choice. Even when you say to yourself, I have to do this, what you might be saying to yourself is, I choose to do this, or else some negative consequence will happen. And even if in that situation, if you can notice the choice, and even though you might still make the choice to do the thing, just by noticing the choice, noticing some space around that choice, you might make the thing less onerous for yourself. So let's all call to mind something you don't really want to do. Whatever that might be. Just notice what happens in your body. Notice that you have a choice about how you relate to doing this thing, whether or not you do the thing. You can notice space inside your body, maybe even inside the thought of doing this thing. Noticing space around the thought of doing this thing, noticing the space around your body. Just see if that makes any kind of difference for you. It's not going to make this activity go away. You still got to do things sometimes that you don't really feel like doing. But maybe you can relate to it more easily. Maybe it can be 2% less onerous. So let's let that thought go. And I'll say maybe one more thing about doing things that you don't really want to do. I'll give you an example. So, I don't particularly like cleaning the bathroom at my home. It's not something that I think, oh, joy, cleaning my bathroom. And I could sort of force myself or make myself clean the bathroom. But I know that doing so would make the whole experience even worse. So when I remember, what I might choose to do is to remember what is it that I want in cleaning the bathroom? What's the deeper wish? For me, it's nice to have a clean bathroom. It feels good to to walk into the bathroom and have it be sparkly clean, right? And there's actually a sense of pleasure that comes from that. And when I remember that sense of pleasure, when I remember the deeper thing that I want from this, then it makes the whole experience much easier. I'm doing it for a reason. So let's all take another moment to contemplate another one of these times when either with a circus activity or something you do in other parts of your life, pick one thing and just get kind of curious. This is something that maybe you don't really feel like doing. And ask yourself, well, what's the deeper reason? What's the value that I have underneath this? What would actually feel good about doing this thing? And see if that changes how you relate to this activity. What are you really in service to when you do this activity? Sometimes when there's something you don't really want to do, or something that's really challenging in some way, where you find yourself getting all tense and stressed, discovering what this deeper reason is, or what the deeper value is, or even putting it in terms of what are you in service to, can really make a difference. There's this concept of personal sovereignty You are in charge of yourself. And it's in the sort of field of personal sovereignty that you have the most sense of choice, the most capacity for freedom, the greatest sense of meaningfulness. When you really connect to what's important to you in doing something. What kind of quality of experience you want to have. Or even just remembering that you have a choice about doing something. Then you are stepping into personal sovereignty. You're being a sovereign in your own life. So let's take our final few minutes here and you can contemplate that. Being a sovereign in your life. Remembering that you are in charge of yourself in all situations, even when it might not seem like it. So let that go. Just notice the space here in the room. You can notice the sounds moving in and out. Notice the sensation of resting. And now that we've been resting for a little while, maybe you notice some desire to begin moving again. Or maybe not. Just notice that genuinely for yourself. Maybe there's some movement that wants to happen. And you could let that happen. Just notice what that's like. What is it like to give yourself that? How do you know what movement wants to happen? Well, that's an interesting question. Just notice that. How do you know how you want to move? Yeah, and then as movement continues to happen, you can give ourselves some good time here to move on the floor. Eventually, let's find ourselves in sitting and share what we notice here.